Good morning. Can you hear me? Yes, okay, very good, very good. Okay, we can start. Check, yeah. Bow. Good morning, good morning. Do you have any question regarding the techniques, practices, anything regarding the Dharma?
Can you hear me?
Yes, very good.
Why do I somehow lose patience when I get irritated and as a consequence uh, don't speak lovingly to my loved ones?
All right, so thank you for your question. When there is hate, ill will in the mind, in the heart, yes, there is no love, no patience. And once it has invaded the mind, the heart, then actions and speech, yes, will follow, right? And with that, unwholesome effects. And we can feel it very clearly that when it happens, we do not uh, feel right. Okay, wait, what? We do not feel okay. There is a kind of, once hate has invaded the mind, there is a kind of momentum. Like there is something, it looks like it cannot be stopped right away, right? There is, you are kind of in fire, burning inside, and you feel that, and you might not be conscious about it, that it has to go out. One has to blame someone. One has to tell our truth, and we think that by doing so, then we will be relieved, right? Because we think that our words will actually have might have a positive consequence, maybe, on the other person. If I tell her the truth, then maybe she will stop acting as she's acting right now, which is not the right way most of the time. This is what we believe. All right. So not only by talking, maybe giving out this harsh speech to the person, first we think that, well, we feel that it will relieve us and that it will change the other person, and the other person will stop his her behavior. But actually that's not true. Most of the time we feel miserable by having said maybe harsh words to someone we love. And that doesn't mean that the other person, especially when the words are spoken under an hateful mind state, most of the time they are not heard by the other person. Because it's not only the content of the words, it's also the energy in the room, right? Nobody is really calm. And when you want to transmit a message, then it's better to wait for the proper time to do so, to wait for the other person to be ready to listen, and for you to be in a calm enough state in order to talk and choose consciously your words. So why do we keep doing that then? And not be loving all the time? Well, abandoning unwholesome state is a big part of the practice. This is why we develop with sitting meditation this observation of our inner landscape. We feel the arising of unwholesome mind state, how they felt, how they feel, how they subside, why they subside, what's the origin of their arising, right? So we train, we sit, and this is why also we train doing exactly the same thing while walking. Okay, walking meditation, standing meditation, lying down meditation, so that when we are triggered by someone, we can stay, let's say, a bit aware of what's going on, what's coming up. And we can feel it maybe in our body as energies. Because, for example, anger is you start to tense, you start to shrink, you start to have maybe a less wide sight, and you start to move and wanting to speak and wanting to change things. And then at some point, if we are aware enough that this process is coming up and that there will be words spoken, an action made that might be hurtful for yourself and for others, then you can step back and have a choice to not speak, keep it for you. And say maybe, and this is what I say, I think last week or the week before, allow yourself when it happens to, if you are not sure that you are able to, at that moment, to pay attention and choose your words, and you are afraid to speak under ill will, then you step back and even you can leave the room. Okay, say, okay, I feel I'm in that state right now. It's not beneficial for anyone. Let's take this conversation for another time so that I can cool down. You are allowed to do that. And it's not, then there is, yeah, but I'm losing face in front of that person. You see, I have to speak for myself and so on. Well, speaking under ill will, hate is never speaking for yourself, right? It's never speaking up and making a point. This is what we want. We want to make a point. We want our point of view to prevail. We want our point of view to actually be the point of view of everybody living with us. But is that the right one? Okay. The other person is just acting nonsense or acting in the way that hurts herself, himself, and others. He has to change. He has to understand that it's not a good way, of course, to do it. He harms me, she harms me, doing bad to me. Okay, of course, set some boundaries and don't let yourself abused by someone. Okay, this is not what I'm saying. Not to take everything. No, this is not what I'm saying. You are right to speak up and say, okay, now look what you are doing. You're harming myself and yourself. So I won't let that happen again. Protecting, having some distance. Okay. But it's very different than being heated up by a trigger by the other person. So it's often a matter of confronting viewpoints, ideas, perceptions, right? And wanting the things to be different, wanting the other person to change. If the other person is ready to receive information and pieces of advice, then of course give them. Trying to convince is another matter. It depends on if the other person is ready to receive and to listen to. Otherwise, you have somehow to let them make their own mistakes. which are actually not mistakes, but maybe a necessity to help them grow. Maybe not in this lifetime, but in the next lifetimes. So I would say when it happens, why do we keep doing that? For example, being mad at people. Maybe but there is a, yeah, because our viewpoint, maybe our way of living looks the best way to do things, right? To be according to us. So just have a look when there is this strong sense of me, mine, myself arises, right? And this is where the no self practice is very, very important. How much do we cling to on our opinions, on our viewpoints, on the way we see ourselves, the image we have? Often we are triggered by because the other people, the other person sees us like we are not, right? Maybe like often our parents, they see us a very specific way. Even they remember how we were when we were children, small children, and the mistakes we used to do. Like now we are 40, 50 years old, and they still see us like small children. And they keep telling us maybe that we are still like that, but we think that we are different. All right. So maybe we receive words as kind of truth, and we want to change how the other person perceives us. We want to change their perceptions, so we argue. But when we argue, then and when ill will invades the mind, then it hurts us. So when we want our opinions, visions, ideas, ideologies to prevail, to be chosen over others, and for people, then of course, because it's mine, maybe it's better. Then it might be somehow leading to this kind of conflict. Yes. And why do we keep doing it? Because the unwholesome state, well, the source of that have not been completely uprooted yet. Okay. So we have to uproot through the practice to understanding, development of wisdom. So it's the whole noble path. And it's to look at the origin of suffering, which is, as I said, a craving. And I think also the very last class might be interesting for you to watch. I was talking about feeling, how the feeling is actually might be one of the trigger. So you start to feel attacked maybe by the person. It's a very strong, it might be a very strong, unpleasant feeling, right? And we want to get rid of it, of this feeling, maybe by, we want to make distance between us and the other person, which looks like to be opposing us or attacking us. So we think that talking out, speaking out harsh words will make distance or will change the situation. We actually, overall, what we want is to make this unpleasant feeling disappear. So we try to act and to change the situation, making the person we do not like to go away, right? Somehow we have to learn to be with our hate, being equanimous about it. So, okay, there is hateful hate in the mind right now. It's time to pay very much attention. So either going to another room and wait until the hate dissipates, or force yourself to not speak and to not act. There are people who say that practice is no effort at all. Well, there is in the right effort teachings. When there is a thought of ill will or hate that has arisen, then you have to make the effort that to not cultivate it, to not develop it. Then what do you do? Okay, maybe it's time to sit and to breathe. It's time to look at this hateful state and feel it how it feels. Just watch it, a hate, hate, hate. Not be judgmental. We all have a certain amount of hate inside of us. So it keeps recurring until we've understood. How we are triggered by words, because we put meanings and interpretations, perceptions, stories, narratives, and we believe that they are mine or that they are like solid things that are kind of knives thrown at us, while those are just words that we listen to. So even someone who insults you, so can you just be with that without taking it personally, right? So it might not be easy when it's done right away. But in the practice, because you do the practice for yourself, then you start to see how your own mind works, and then you see how the minds of others is not that different. Actually, working of the mind of others is more or less the same as yours. So when you sit and do insight practice and see what triggers you, then you understand what triggers others. And in that practice, we can also notice uh, how we cling to our narratives and stories about ourselves. How we put even the word truth around that. This is how things are. I am like this, she's like that. We define ourselves and others. We want to change others and how they live their life, maybe. So I would say that first, by actually knowing your own mind, then you start to understand the mind of others. And when you start to see in yourself the amount of greed, of hatred, of delusion, and then you say, okay, others, they have that too. This is why they act like they do. Then it starts to, let's say, that we can start to relax around that a little bit, okay? And say, all right, this is how things work for everybody. Mindful of hatred, of delusion, of greed at different levels, intensity. And this is what makes the world act like it is. And I'm in it. And maybe I have the choice. I have the choice this time when I'm full of fire, of hate, then just to step back. And if once you take the decision, the intention to step back and to say, okay, I will not fuel that discussion again, stop. And then if you are able to do that, then look what are the consequences and say, okay, this has been going on, this trigger, this conversation has been going on forever. It looks like there is no positive outcome to it. So, okay. It is like what is the how to let go, right? How to let go. Maybe keep defending our point of view is not the way. Maybe just letting the words come, pass through, finish their course somewhere. see what happens. So where we are now in a kind of confrontation situation with another person that triggers us, it's not easy to do. This is why we sit. When you watch actually your own thoughts of anger, of how the world should be, how it shouldn't be like this, like that, it shouldn't happen to me, those conditions are not favorable, I would like them to be different. This I don't like, how to change the conditions so that it's favorable to me. When you watch all of those things occurring in meditation with awareness, when you see the dissipation of that and the effect of your mind, of your calmness, then you are more prone to do it in face-to-face relationships. And I would say that in meditation, and I pointed out several times already, that in insight practice you look at everything that arises, and at some point I also said, look at the beginning, the middle, and the end, right? And most of the time we see the beginning, the middle, and then the dissipation. We never looked at it. There is something other popping up, and then the mind goes there. But this decaying and dissipation and going away, look at that in meditation. Really, that it comes, it appears, it disappears. So it's, when I say look at the impermanence of things, okay, it can be done on a global gross level, but in meditation at a very subtle level, you see the arising of phenomena. So it can be a tactile sensation. Okay, it's coming, 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 coming. It's there, 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 there. And at some point it's no longer there. And because it's no longer there, so you cannot even be aware of it, right? So when you really have an insight in the dissolution of things, even the dissolution of thoughts, or even say, oh, okay, 2 minutes ago I was thinking about that, now it's, if I look in the mind, it's no longer there, so it's gone, right? So it has a reason, existence, let's say, and then dissolution. Do you remember the thoughts you had even 5 days ago at 2 a.m.? No, because they are gone, they were not very useful, maybe, but they are gone. I mean, of course, if you try to remember, 2 a.m. I was doing this, I was maybe thinking about that, but it would be a recall, a memory. It won't be the thought by itself. So they are the kind of objects that look like being arising, middle, and then dissolution. And then dissolution, they are no longer there. They are gone. So for the words, when someone speaks to you, insults you, it would be the same. Hearing, coming, existing a short time, and then dissolution. So they will go away. These too shall pass. Even the harsh words that someone throw at you, these too shall pass. And this is why this kind of very easy practices to undertake, looking at the arising and decaying of phenomena inside the body, inside the mind, gives you actually insight about all of that, that yes, it dissolves. This is one of the first steps, but you have to look with direct knowledge. And then what will happen? You will notice that this kind of existence of those phenomena depends on, of course, the attention you put. So if you remove the attention, they are no longer there. So do you remember we made this this practice when I asked you to put your attention in the finger or somewhere, maybe at one point in the body. If you put your really all your attention, I don't know, into your finger, then it's like the rest of the body is gone. So finally, the reality of something really depends on the attention you put on and the perception you put on it, the meaning you put on it. So if you remove your, let's say, attention on the topic that triggers you, then it's gone, and then you're free. All right. See this movement of wanting to this movement of coming back to the topic over and over again, and then it kind of builds up, and then when the person, the loved one, who for any reason, it doesn't matter if it's right or wrong, but when this person comes to you, then it has so built up into yourself, then it's like there must be an outlet out, right? So we try not to build it up. We try to say, okay, it has a reason. Oh, it's moment to pay attention. It has a reason. Let's try not to make it build up and grow up. It will be not for my benefit and for the benefit of others. Then let's try to do something skillful. I don't know. Put your mind out of the topic. And there will be the me topic, wanting, of course, to grab on it, to cling on it. And when you see that, say, okay, let's do something. Let's have a walk. Or I would say make effort and sit in meditation, watch all of this happening, or try to do, I don't know, concentration. Metta is really difficult in those cases when we are already, everything is flared up already. So because we think that, oh, okay, I'm so bad person, I should be a good person, let's try to do metta. So you can do that if you are very skillful in this kind of practice, but most of the time it won't work. So what can you do then? Okay, sometimes a trick that I would do, I would ask myself, maybe, so of course it would be just imagination, but yeah, okay, what the Buddha would do, what it would look like without having a hatred right now with that person. How would he talk? How would he talk? Right. This is why I like reading all of those suttas, because he has a very specific way of speaking. There is no hate in the way he speaks, even when he's attacked. Even when he was his cousin attempted to kill him so many times. What the Buddha would do. Of course, you would imagine something that wouldn't be the way of a Buddha, but you would say, of course, then he wouldn't try to to make it worse or to speak harsh words. Yeah. But at some point, it will, in the course of the practice, uh, ill will won't resurface. It won't be there at some point. I think I don't remember at what stage. Maybe a non-returner stage of enlightenment. Ill will is gone. You cannot hurt anyone. So I don't know if it answered the question. If there is anything you would like to add, please do so, or just. So in the practice, by sitting with ourselves and with our mind, learning when there is to identify when there is greed, hatred, where there is delusion, ignorance, without being judgmental about that, then we see how that starts brings the tendency to proliferate around thoughts and around ourselves. How there is a tendency for mental fabrications. You see how you start to build stories about one event that we didn't like, or that we wanted to make it longer because we enjoyed it very much. And also there might be a little bit of when we feel in conflict with people, usually it's a very disagreeable feeling. We don't like it about maybe others or about ourselves, right? And we have this thought that we should be a good person instead, a wise person. And then because we do not manage to be according to our ideal, which is also a thought in itself, how we should be, it can trigger actually guilt, remorse, and shame. And then it's even worse. We keep talking about how bad person we are, and so on and so on, while we are unable to to stay calm when that person talks to us about that. So look at that also in a non-judgmental way, in an economist way, right? Same way, how you construct yourself around having to be a good person. It's also mental construction, fabrication. and how you put yourself into boxes. And how again our mind will proliferate around the image you built around yourself. So it will be again, so look at the me, my, myself in that self-shaming, self-blaming. And instead of looking at the content, the meaning, the labels you are putting into the story, look at the rising and ceasing of these kind of thoughts. You sit with yourself and say, okay, blame, shame is arising, shame is in the mind. How does it feel? It's there, it's there, it's there. That. And say, remember, or maybe look at it with the glasses of not me, not mine, not myself. How does it change then? Do not solidify it around anything, around any idea about yourself. Okay, that are self-generated and based on what? Based on your own criteria, parameters, conditioning. But look at those ideas, as coming, going phenomena, and how it feels, and when it's gone, how it feels. I would say that, of course, if you know that you have really done something harmful, hurtful, spoke bad words to someone, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't go to the person and apologize. This is not because you have noticed that it's not even yours, or it's not personal, that you shouldn't go to the other person and say, okay, I lost my temper again. It was hurtful to me, to you. Please accept my apologies. You do that not necessarily for the other person, but also for yourself. Say, okay, now, next time, if I'm conscious enough, aware enough, and I have the choice between that direction or that direction, I try to choose what is harmless for myself and for others. All right. But this is the kind of active, dynamic progression of wisdom understanding. But it starts when we still everything, when we still the body, and when we sit. So I would say that then that's why we have to commit to the practice regularly and try to really start to be mindful through the entire day. Say, okay, this is the consequence. I notice that this is the consequence of, I would say, even evil thoughts. This is what the words that are used also in the Pali Canon. Say, those are the consequences. Yeah, now I would like this not to come into my life again. Then, okay. Even before, that means that you are about to meet that or that or that people, and that this kind of topic matter might pop up during a conversation and you know that it triggers you, then I would say you can even prepare yourself before and say, okay, I will meditate before this family meeting. All right. And then you sit, and most of the time, the topic that you know that triggers you and that might pop up again, it will come up in meditation, right? And then you see, trying to be a good person, trying not to react, and see all of these things as coming and going. And because you see the dissolution, you say, okay, maybe it will go away also when I'm face to face. So I would say that before being very skillful in a kind of family meeting, then we have to learn to be aware, very well aware of what's going on inside before in meditation. And you can allow yourself to prepare, actually, to prepare or to withdraw, to prepare or to step back, to avoid by any means this kind of harsh speech that you will regret. So you will, receive the consequences of your harsh speech. This is a training. This is a training. So when it happens, say, okay, this is the lesson. I notice very well the consequences for me, meaning a restless mind, the blame, the shame, the guilt, and then the impossibility to sleep at night. Now I have problems living with that person who actually has grudges against me, and say, okay, next time I'll pay attention. And I will apply what I know about apply what I know. So either step back, either ground yourself, take a moment before speaking and say, okay, I have something that I really, really want to say to that person, to show her or him that he is like this or that. I don't know. Go to the kitchen and just put some tape on your mouth. and just something like this. Or I have to I have to find that Suda bag. There is even someone who has I think, I don't want to distort the words of the Buddha, but there is a sutta where he say that even when you want to speak something that you know that is gonna hurt someone in yourself, you just clench your jaws. This is what he say, the advice he gives. Clench your jaws and just. Of course, speaking is not the only way to make bad karma. Thinking also, but just by at least. I think you won't be kicked by the other person because if he cannot read your mind, then he will be the only one. Receiving, receiving, and also really contemplating every day that you can make a kind of what helps. Yeah, a kind of okay. Yesterday there was this amount of unwholesome state, this amount of good state, and then the day went like this. And you start to see really the causes and effects. So, and one day when there is no or much reduced amount of greed, hatred, and delusion, then how the day went. Okay, it was a bit better, then I was more relaxed and so on. the consequence on the body, the consequence on the mind. Okay, it looks like it's like a kind of course it's more complicated because we have past life and also effects from past lives, but I would say that in a day-to-day basis you can really kind of balance or see, okay, there I was really hateful with that person, okay, that I had a really bad day, and then you can start to to see the equilibrium. Say, okay, I did very good, I don't know, deeds, and I was open, my mind was clear, and I don't know, I did a lot of metta, and then I felt like this. Okay, consequence were like that. Okay, and then just by really paying attention to that, because we have the tendency to ignore completely that law of karma, and to forget that we inherit our karma. But once we do that work, let's say looking at the effects of our action and our speech, it's like having these hot charcoals. You do not want to grab them anymore and say, okay, no, I will do. Maybe this other person will think that I'm completely stupid because I'm not replying back. But then, no, I don't want to inherit this karma. Okay. So that was the reply. Thank you for listening today. If you want to be more specific, then you can write to me. Okay, then maybe also I can judge a little bit the situation and give more customized advice. Right?
Thank you.